Kyle, this is Miles from Fastball. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
All the compliments. You guys have not lost a step in your songwriting whatsoever. It's
Thank you.
a seriously catchy and great album that you guys got to hear. So
thank you.
Well done. And I guess, we have to probably go by the part of the story that I'm sure everybody hits at. It's the surprising thing is there was such a gap in between, which I know you guys were busy and you were still touring. But what was sort of the circumstances that led to, 8 years between records?
Well, the short answer, I guess, is life gets in the way. A longer answer might just be the Little White Lies record and the tour and everything we did with that. I just remember I didn't really have much fun on it. I remember that being kind of a dark period in the band, or just a real struggle. I think we all walked away from that just going, forget it, we didn't. The great thing about a band is we never really broke up, but we did take extended breaks, and that was the longest break. But we were still playing shows and still doing stuff together. It's just we were off. I was busy getting a divorce. That took some time. I don't know what the other guys went through. We were all kind of in the same town and certainly socializing, hanging out, collaborating, but it wasn't any concerted effort. And then we did a big tour in 2013 with Under the Sun tour. And after that tour, I realized, I myself anyways, was like, wow, there's a lot of people that still love this band, and we should make a more concerted effort to try to get our house in order and go out there. Because we didn't really have a booking agent, didn't have a manager, didn't have any of those things that you need. I wouldn't be talking to you right now if we didn't have a publicist. Mm-hmm. So those are all the kind of the boring nuts and bolts that you need to have if you're going to be at a certain level. Otherwise, you're the one calling everybody.
Right.
And that doesn't work too good. So, we just had to kind of get all the parts back, figure out all that stuff. That takes time. And in the midst of it, we just literally got together and said, let's bang out a record. We did it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
and for what it's worth, before I get to that part, we still play that Little White Lies record. I'm such a big fan of, especially that song Mono to Stereo. It still gets a lot of play here on the station.
Thank you.
May not have been a good time for you guys, but it was for us.
Well, I thought it was a great record. That's what made it all the more of a heartache.
Yeah.
Was to do all that work and really feel like you'd laid down some great music, and then just this tiny fraction of people got to hear it. But it was mostly, we just didn't have, the team we had wasn't working.
Right.
And so it just kind of sank like a stone. But it's there if anybody wants to hear it. It's online, it's on Spotify, and it's on
a good
iTunes
record.
And all the rest of it.
I recommend it to the people too.
I think it's a great record.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the 2 weeks in the studio. I mean, going into that, you've really got to have the songs down. That reminds me of a very old style of doing it, that 50s style or whatever it is, 70s style, before it was just so easy for everybody to make a record in their bedroom. What was the preparation? Had the songs been around a little while? Did you guys have to really nail them down before you walked in?
No. Tony and I had been writing songs, we kind of dragged the river, as I like to say. What's sitting on your hard drive? Send me everything. And we send each other everything, and you're like, no, this is crap. We threw out a lot of songs and half-baked stuff, and then we boiled it down to, the great thing is we only need 6 each or something. We're both pretty prolific. And I picked, he pointed at the ones he liked of mine, and I pointed at the ones I liked of his, and we collaborated on a few, and we brought back a few old songs that we'd tried recording before that didn't for whatever reason work. So we're on our way. It's like an older song, and so is Best Friend. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I didn't think it would hang together as great as it does. It's like the finished product. I was like, wow.
It's really cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds really good. And I was also excited that I never ever thought we had much of a sound, like identifiable sound, until now. When we did that record, I hadn't really worked with those guys in a while. And we got in the room and started playing, and I'm listening back, and I'm going, there it is. There's a sound. It's crazy. It's the sound we make together, and it is actually pretty specific. Yeah. So I was excited,
There's definitely, I'll go ahead and throw the easy comparison, Lennon McCartney with the style of songwriting, because you both bring in such a thing that, as you're saying, really works together well. And you have this, I guess the way I hear it anyway, is you both sort of lean in a different direction. And that's what makes it all interesting. But, because Tony, he brings in, I don't know, it feels like this Buddy Holly-esque sort of things to his songs, while you, I don't know, I was surprised to hear a little bit of the, a punk drive going on. We're on Our Way, sure, but also Love Comes in Waves. It's really got a Buzzcocks thing going about it.
Yeah, I was really excited when I wrote that song.
Yeah.
Because I wrote the bass line first, and then, anyways, when I finished it, I was so excited, and the reason was I was like, this is a number we can play for the rest of our lives, like live. I just knew it would be great live. It's like impossible to screw up. It's like toast. It's like there's no way to make bad toast unless you burn it, I guess.
That's true.
But this is foolproof. It's a bowl of cereal. It's foolproof because of the bass line and because nothing's happening with the guitar. So the chorus, I'm like, it's going to hit the mark every time. And it does. Once we added it to the set, we've never done a show without it because it's such a galvanizing tune live. And so I was just excited about that. Like, here's something that's going to change our lives, even if the records do nothing, it doesn't matter. Every time we play live, we have a new surefire song. Because we got a few, like The Way, Out of My Head. Every time we play those, people go nuts. Mm-hmm. And I knew that Love Comes in Waves would be that type of song.
Was the I don't know, was the punk thing on your mind at all, just trying to do something driving, or is that just you fiddling around? I didn't know if you were trying to go for something specific when you kind of go for a sound like that.
Not punk specifically, but definitely something that was going to change it up, because there's so many times that have been in our set where we would have 6 or 7 songs that have chugging eighth notes and 120 beat per minute tempo. And when you string them all together, I call it the Gobi Desert. Like, I don't want to have to cross the Gobi Desert again, because everyone gets bored. The band gets bored. The audience gets bored, because it's boring.
Yeah.
If you have that many songs that are kind of similar, it's boring. So as a musician, I've learned, like, you got to mix it up. You got to mix up the rhythms. You got to have different, we have a waltz for the first time on any Fastball record. Mm-hmm. Step Into the Light is 3-4 times. Those things really psychologically make a difference on the audience. If you're changing it up, or if there's certain rhythms that are hypnotic, those kind of subliminal stuff I've gotten more into. And so I definitely was leaning towards like this. Yeah, man, that's gonna make people move.
I love it.
And so yeah, I do too. And I've actually gotten, I love all kinds of music from the late 70s, punk rock, British and American, but I've just recently gotten into the Damned. Somehow I missed the Damned, and I don't know how I did. But boy, man, they're like number one of the first album that Nick Lowe did is just insane.
Yeah.
And Damned. And so I've written that Love Comes in Waves before that, but they're definitely on my mind. And that kind of music is on my mind. Just real, we're going to crash the car type music.
And you've got different styles in your other songs too. And I don't know, a minute ago you had even mentioned Best Friend, which I think is the only one that I noticed on the track list that you and Tony wrote together, which is kind of cute, given the name.
He helped me on Lillian Gish, which is a weird song towards the end.
Right.
And that one's strange. It's a strange time signature, and he helped me finish it because I couldn't finish it. Yeah. But yeah, Best Friend we'd had for a while, and Tony really sings great on that. I love the all the high notes and stuff. He's a great singer, so it was great to hear him really let it rip on that one.
Yeah. There's another one on here I was kind of curious about with Frenchy and the Punk. Speaking of punk, but you've got Chris Frenchy Smith also producing it, but it's a different spelling, and I didn't know if that's the same thing or different.
I'll tell you the story behind that song. So I had this melody, I had that whole thing going, and I had kind of what I wanted to be about, and I singing so low, I was like, this song is going to be this weird thing. I'm not writing some song where I knew it had to be surreal and strange, but I couldn't come up with anything. I think I wrote 3 different kind of drafts of the song. I didn't like any of them. And at the time I was dating this girl from France. And I was actually trying to write the song for her to sing because she was the singer. And so I was trying to write all these, like, what I imagined to be French music. But I had no idea what French music sounds like. This is just my imagination of what French music sounds like. So that was kind of the genesis behind the melody and trying to get it. And then I went to dinner, and I was sitting at this place eating dinner by myself at the bar, and who walks in but Frenchy, and our producer. But I hadn't seen him in a while, and the record was still a ways away. We hadn't even talked about making a record yet. Mm-hmm. And there he was. And I talked to him, and it was great to talk to him. And I just, suddenly it all hit me in a flash, because he's not really punk rock, but I associate punk rock with him and some of the acts he works with. And I just started thinking Frenchy, and I was dating a French girl, Frenchy and the Punk. It just came to me like that. And then I had the song. Basically, that was what I needed. I turned the corner. I think I wrote the song like when I got home or something. Yeah. So that's the story behind that. And Frenchy is definitely, or the producer was definitely the flashpoint, right, even though he wasn't producing the record yet.
I love the record. I'm so happy you guys are back too. It really is.
Thank you.
It's a nice surprise because, I know it's easy for a band to just kind of disappear into the ether one day and no one notices. So for you guys to keep doing this and to still be, swinging as hard as you are and connecting, I'm really, really excited about that. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
And appreciate the conversation too. And hopefully I'll be able to see you guys out on the road at some point this tour.
Come on out.
All right, Miles. Take
care. The
water's
fine. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.